Good morning. The meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. The meeting is being held at the office of the Louisiana Tax Commission at 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The date is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. The time is 9:05 a.m. Please call the roll.
Chairman Rousseau.
Here.
Commissioner Leone.
Here.
Commissioner Romick. Commissioner Guidry.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Here.
4 present and a quorum.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve those minutes. Mr. Chair, I also move to approve those minutes. Mr. Chair, I also approve to make a motion to approve those.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 574 change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve 564 and place 10 in pending status. Staff requests approval of these change orders.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the 564 change orders and place 10 in pending status for reasons given by staff.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 14 prior pending change orders. Staff has reviewed those change orders and requests to approve all 14.
Mr. Chair, call for motion to approve the 14 prior change orders.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted. Now,
We need to redo it? We can if we need to.
Chandrika Banks on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have a total of 3 tax sale cancellations, 2 in cattle pairs due to being erroneously sold, and 1 in tangible whole pairs due to being erroneously sold. Staff requests approval of 3 tax sale cancellations.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 3 tax sale cancellations.
okay, we have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Mr. Chair, I move we add 2 parishes to item 6 on today's agenda. I move we add West Baton Rouge and St. Martin parishes to the list of tax rolls to be approved.
Okay, the first motion is we have a motion to add the 2 parishes for tax roll approval. Is there any discussion on that motion? Any objection to that motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tanisha Malvo on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Staff has received and reviewed the tax rolls for the following parishes: Acadia, Allen, Ascension, Assumption, Avoyelles, Beauregard, Bossier, Catahoula, Claiborne, DeSoto, East Carroll, Franklin, Grant, Iberville, Jackson, Jefferson, Lafayette, Lafourche, Livingston, Natchitoches, Sabine, St. James, St. Martin, St. Mary's, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, Tensas, Terrebonne, Union, Vermilion, Vernon, West Baton Rouge, West Feliciana, and Wynn parishes. For these parishes, we have received the required items for approval: the affidavit, the quietus, the legislative auditor approval letter, the electronic roll, the TC 33 abstract, the public service recap report, and the millage recap report. The public service numbers match our records, and the electronic rolls, millage report, and TC 33s have been validated and balanced. As all LTC tax roll requirements have been met, staff requests the approval of the 2025 tax rolls for the 32 parishes noted on our agenda, in addition to the 2 we just added moments ago.
Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve, the 2025 tax rolls, that have been spoke of. I believe it'd be 34 in total.
That is correct.
We have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Thank you.
You'll be testifying in any of the appeals on today's docket. I'll have you stand up at your chair. I will administer an oath to you. I'll indicate to you individually to affirm the oath by simply stating I do, and I'll have you state your name. So any of the appeals on today's docket, if you will be coming to the table to testify about the appeal, I'm going to administer an oath to you. All right? Will you please raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Corey Chasson, I do.
Thank you. Russell Elmrose, I do. Thank you. Richard Williams, I do. Thank you. Y'all may have a seat. Appraisers? Appraisers, if you can turn your cameras on and unmute. Same exercise. Nicole, you're still muted. There we go. If you will, raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Danny?
Daniel Blanchard, I do.
Luke?
Luke Brewer, I do.
Marque?
Marque Palmer, I do.
Josh?
Joshua Laverne, I do.
And Nicole?
Nicole Singley, I do.
Thank you. All right. Should be good, Chairman.
Call the first appeal.
Okay, the first appeal we'll take up this morning is the appeal of Sinigla Enterprises Incorporated versus Assessor Chris Guerin in the West Baton Rouge Parish Board of Review, docket number 24221-21003.
Morning. You can go ahead and get started.
Okay, good morning. I wish the appraiser would have called and talked to me. If she would have, then I would have discussed with her that the property has no road frontage and the excessive depth of the property kind of hinders the back portion's value of the property. Or if she would have pulled up the comparables of the plat maps of the comparables and our property, then she would have seen that our property has no road frontage. Everything she compared our property to has 400 to 600 feet of road frontage or more. Plus, every comparable she used has frontage on 2 streets. Our property has no road frontage. We've got the railroad track in front of our property that you can't cross. We're landlocked on 3 sides. There is a road that to the side that may stop just short of our property. I hadn't seen any proof that it actually goes to the edge of our property or not. So that's a big issue. And in the appraisal, there was no adjustment for no road frontage, and there was no adjustment for the excessive depth of our property. All the comparables were wider than what they were deep, so they could be subdivided. Comparable 3 on her appraisal was a residential comparable. Now, I don't see how she could use a residential comparable if we're being assessed as if we a commercial tract. If we considered to be a residential tract, then I would think we would be assessed at what the tract to the right of us is assessed at, which is much less than what is assessed at. What it comes down to, I feel like if you take the appraiser's appraisal and then you deduct the road cost, what it would cost to put a public road, extend that road with a public road I think it would be like $150,000. In fact, I included in some of the paperwork I submitted, a cost estimate of the road, it'd be approximately $150,000. And then if you also consider comparable 1 and 2 of the appraisal, if you look at those two comparables, you'll see like I guess you'd say the most comparable one to us, if we had road frontage, would be comparable 1. Okay. Now, if you compare us to comparable 1, when they developed that out parcel track, they made that track wider than what it was deep, and the depth is only a couple hundred feet. I have to look, but it's not that deep, maybe 200 to 300 feet of depth. Okay. And then when comparable 2 is actually on Sugar Plantation, a much better road. And when they recently out parceled that track for a convenience store, okay, they put it on a corner street, on the corner, and then it's only like 200 feet of depth. So if you use that mentality, then you would say, okay, the market dictates that only the front acre of our track is worth much more than the rear part of our track. Our track is like 205 feet by like 600 and something feet deep. Even if we had a road there, then you would say, well, probably the front acre is going to be worth much more than the rear 1.81 acres. So it's got to be some kind of adjustment there because it's not worth as much. The appraiser didn't take that in consideration. She did not adjust for the back not being, and the assessor did the same thing. Assessor did not adjust for no road frontage, did not adjust for the back of our track not being as worth as much as the front. I mean, you have to adjust for that, you know? There's a cost. If somebody's going to buy our track, it's on the market for much less than what the assessor appraised it at, assessed it at, much less than what it was appraised at. So I mean, if you're going to consider that, if you're going to compare our property to like the adjoining track, you have to make an adjustment for no road, and you have to make an adjustment because ours is much more narrow than the comparables. Than what I know you're not going to find any comparables with no road frontage. So you have to use comparables that have road frontage, but you just need to adjust. That's all I'm asking for is for an adjustment for no road. We shouldn't be taxed as if we have a road. It's like we're paying taxes on a road that we don't have. We're paying taxes on improvements that we don't have. I don't think that's fair, you know? I think what it should be assessed at, if you take the appraisal and you deduct if you deduct the cost of the road, 150,000, and then you assume where the back part of our track is maybe worth half as much as the front. If you make those adjustments, then you come up to like 208,000. I think that's fair. If you use what he assessed the adjoining track at, then the assessed value would be much less than 208,000. I'm willing for 208,000. I'm happy with that, you know? That's what I have to say. I wish the appraiser would have called me. I would have discussed the no road, but you can clearly see in her appraisal that she made no adjustments. I've been a realtor for over 40 years. You can clearly see in her appraisal there was no adjustments for no road frontage and excessive depth of our property compared to the comparables. You know, that's it. Yeah.
Office?
Good morning, Chairman Roussel, fellow commissioners. Chris Guerin, I'm the assessor for West Baton Rouge Parish. I'd like to take a minute to kind of run through the evidentiary docs we submitted, kind of go through this to maybe kind of summarize things. First doc is just cover page and salient facts. Property under appeal is located at 6454 Highway 1 South. In between Bruley and Addis, it basically is adjacent to the northern boundary of the town of Addis's municipal limits. It's vacant land. It is zoned by West Baton Rouge Parish as C.13, which is a commercial zoning. as we valued the property, as vacant, as improved, we feel like the highest and best use is commercial use. Date of our value was January 1st, 2023. Our site visit was May 8th of 2024. Tract in question is about 2.81 acres. In arriving at our values, we did not give any consideration to the cost or income approach. We strictly looked at comparable sales and used sales comparison approach. Our final estimate of value was $368,700. That would cover document 1. Exhibit or document 2 is just a copy of MLS listings for the subject property. The property was initially listed on MLS in May of 2020. It stayed listed for a 4.5-year period at a list price of $856,821. It was listed for that amount for 4.5 years. Our board of review for 2024 was on October 10th of 2024. That's when Mr. Barcelona came to West Baton Rouge Parish and submitted his initial appeal. The next day after our board of review, the MLS listing dropped from $856,000 to $611,665. On July 18th of 2025 this year, less than 90 days to where we're at today, the list price on the property was lowered another time to $336,600. Exhibit 3 is photographs of the subject property that we took on our site visit. The photo at the top is a view from the west, looking from Highway 1 direction. The photo in the left corner is looking to the north where the frontage road ends at the subject property. The view in the right-hand corner is a view looking south on the frontage road as you would exit or leave the subject property. Exhibit 4 is a list of comparable sales that our office has tracked and maintained in the immediate area of the subject property. We've got 12 sales listed. This is an area where there's been substantial residential development. There's a residential development that's pretty much being on its final phase. I think it's 19 phases built out by DSLD. There's over 1,000 homes in this development. Subject tract is just due north of the main entrance to this subdivision. If you look at the 12 sales, our office kind of hung our hats on sales 2, 3, and 4. Those were sales that occurred in our window of or scope of time to revalue for 2024. We had subject property 2 is directly across Highway 1 from the subject property. It's a 2.1 acre tract. Sold for $395,000, $4.20 a square foot. Comparable number 3 is south of the subject property. It is inside of the development where there's commercial tracts and multifamily homes listed. It's a 2.978 acre tract. Sold for $450,000 or $3.47 a square foot. Third comp that we used would be number 4 on the page. Is actually on the frontage road. It is adjacent to the south of the subject property. It's a 1.7 acre tract. Sold for $308,405 or $3.98 a square foot. If we look at the comparables that we hung our hat on, for our 2024 revaluation. If we average the three sales that we placed importance on, average price per square foot was $3.88 per square foot. If we're looking at sales ratios and where we're supposed to be around 90%. 90% of that average would be $3.50. If you take the median of the sales that we considered, the median is $3.98. 90% of that number is $3.58. So whether you look at the average or the median, 90% would have been $3.50 to $3.60 a square foot. We used $3 a square foot to value our commercial tracts in this immediate area and inside of the Sugar Mill residential development that has over 1,000 homes. If you look at our fourth document, it is kind of a location map that gives you an indication of where the 12 comparables are located. Some of the comparables date back to 2013. Of the three sales that we used to establish our values, the tract farthest from the subject property is 0.42 miles. If you look at all 12 of our comparables, the farthest tract from the subject is a little over 1 mile. I think we are like 1.12 miles. So as a subject map, you can see the comparables that we use. Comparable 2 is on the west side of Highway 1. Comparables listed as number 4 and 3 are on the west side of Highway 1. If I can just touch on a few subjects away from our evidentiary docs. The initial appeal last year at our board of review that was submitted, in the initial appeal, the value requested by the property owner was $112,400, just a tick over 90 cents a square foot. We show up at the appeal hearing today, and there's been reconsideration. Obviously, now he's requesting a value of $208,000, which brings us to about $1.70 a square foot. If I look at my comps that we've tracked over the last 12 to 13 years, I don't have a commercial tract that has sold for less than $2.65 within that 1 mile strip right there. A couple things that Mr. Barcelona references is the size or the layout of his tract. He's referencing irregular, maybe some inutility. In my discussions with fee appraisers and members of West Baton Rouge Parish's Planning and Zoning Commission, I requested they look at this tract to tell me if anybody thought it was irregular. There was not much hesitation from anyone I spoke to. They didn't deem the property to be irregular when they viewed the layout. The property is roughly, and it's listed 200 feet frontage, roughly 630 feet deep. That's how it's listed on the MLS listing. If everything I've been told and read in research, if you look at frontage to depth ratios, a 1-to-3 frontage to depth ratio could be considered ideal. This tract is 200 feet on the front and 600 feet deep. Quick math tells me that's a 1-to-3 frontage to depth ratio. So I tend to take exception with the assertion that the property has inutility or is irregular based on its layout. In regards to the road frontage, I do acknowledge the property does not have road frontage. Property is not landlocked. It does have access. The frontage road that was dedicated to the city of Addis does end either close to or very much within proximity of the subject property. In talking to some appraisers and our planning and zoning office, the planning and zoning office would not have any zoning or permitting requirements that would necessitate or mandate road frontage 205 feet across the front of the subject property. We feel like with the frontage road pretty much terminating at that property line, an apron, whether it be it asphalt or concrete, a large apron could be poured there, which would lead to the ability to have continuance of paved parking or paved access to a building if it was situated on this particular piece of property. So kind of take exception to the irregularity of the lot and the inutility and the necessity to have road frontage on this particular piece of property.
Here from the LTC appraiser, good question. Is the property for sale today?
Yes, it is. 295,000.
That's what you have it listed for?
Yeah.
We'll hear from the appraiser.
Good morning. I appraised the property at 421.5, which was 150,000 per acre. I see in my notes that I did call and text on May 22nd, 2025. The comps that I used are all within a half mile. I did have a little bit stricter time constraints. I used 3 years back, so I did use the residential sale for number 3, but I adjusted up accordingly. It's located right there on Highway 1 South, though, so I felt like it was appropriate to use.
Thank you. Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna make a motion just to, now the last listing we had was 336,600. Okay, and that as of 9/8/25, and that was what was included for us. So I'm making a motion to go with that, 336,600 for the land value. I do think the road footage will play into some of that. So that's my motion.
Okay,
I've got an objection. Yeah.
so hearing no objection, motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please note for the record that item B on the agenda, appeal of May and Ellis LLC has been settled. That's docket number 22172-135. Also, item C on the agenda has been withdrawn. Appeal of Belmont Commons, docket number 2422171-083. And we'll move on to item D on the agenda. We have a consent agreement. That's appeal of the 307 Company LLC versus Assessor LG Williams and the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 2422172-039. That's letter D on our.
Good morning, Commissioners. That is correct. We have a consent agreement. I'm just trying to pull up the numbers right now. Okay. So the item number 24-22172-039. Item number D, the consent agreement was for $690,000 total. And that breaks down to $112,000 for the land, $578,000 for the building, for a total fair market value of $690,000. And we do have an email from the taxpayer agreeing.
The chair call for motion.
We have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Okay, moving on to item E, that's appeal of the 307 Company. It's also been withdrawn. That's docket number 24221-72040. Next, we have the appeal of A Striker Properties LLC, docket number 24221-72041, and we have a consent agreement for that one.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, the consent agreement was for a total fair market value of $565,000. That breaks down to $128,300 for the land, $436,700 for the building, for a total fair market value of $565.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I call for a motion for the consent agreement agreed to with the city for $565,000, total of $128,300 for land, improvements $436,700 improvements, total of $565,000.
We have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Okay, moving on to item G, which has been withdrawn. That's docket number 24221-74018. We're gonna hear letter H at a later date. We're waiting on them to, they're in traffic at this moment. Item I has been continued. That's docket number 24221-73020. Item J has been withdrawn. That's docket number 24221-74002. So we're moving on to item K on the agenda, which is the appeal of Owen M. Courageous versus Assessor L.G. Williams in the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 24221-74003.
No taxpayer present, so we'll hear from Mr. Alvarez.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. Russell Alvarez with the Orleans Parish Assessor's Office. The property is a multifamily property located in the East Garden District neighborhood. Was originally valued at $986,100. That was upheld by the Board of Review. The Assessor's Office did a fee simple appraisal to submit with our exhibits for this hearing. That fee simple appraisal came in with a fair market value of $989,000. That's right in line with our original value of the $986 that was upheld by the Board of Review. The tax commission staff appraisal was at $949. Everything's all in that same ballpark. We're asking the commission to uphold the Board of Review's value at $986,100.
We'll hear from the LTC appraiser, Nicole.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Nicole Singley, appraiser for Louisiana Tax Commission. I did complete the exterior site visit. With research being done, I came with an estimated fair market value of $949,000, $228,500 to land, $720,500 to the improvement.
Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the commission?
I have a question. Orleans, hey, on y'all's appeal paperwork, you're asking for $949.
Yes, sir. The original prayer was done before the number of continuances that was granted to Mr. Courageous in the effort to try to settle this matter, but instead of settling it, he kept continuing the matter. So we're asking for the Board of Review's valuation to be upheld now because we've had to visit this issue a number of times.
So you're okay with $949 as long as he didn't contest it, but now you want to go to $986,100 and change because he contested it?
So originally we were going to ask for the commission's value because it was right in line with our valuation as an effort to settle it. Correct. It was not settled. It was not heard. It was continued. The taxpayer never returned any phone calls or had any correspondence with us. So we're asking, because of that, we'd like to have the Board of Review's value upheld. It's within 5% of the 5% of our value, 5% of the tax commission's value.
Okay. All right. Any additional questions from the commission? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
That's not what I. Okay.
I don't think you want to be ordered.
No, I don't want to be ordered. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, apparently I have the wrong paperwork. I'll retract my statement.
The BOR lowered this assessment to $850.
So, yeah, no. I prefer the 986 still, but I will live with the 949.
Hear a motion? We have a discussion on the motion.
Okay, moving on to item L, please note for the record that appeal, docket number 242217414 has settled at the LTC value. Letter M on the agenda has also settled. That's docket number 242217415, settled at a total of 500,000.
Yes. So just to clarify, it's going to be a consent agreement with the taxpayer, witnessed by the tax commission and then the representative. And I can give you those numbers. It's not technically going to be a settlement. We don't have a settlement executed.
And this is like item M, right?
L and M, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The item number L, the consent agreement is going to be the tax commission staff appraisal value, the 351. And then item number M, the breakout would be $550,000 total. Land at 228,200, building at 296,800 for a total fair market value of 550.
We're going to take a motion on item L first. We have a consent agreement for the land value of 108,500 and improvement value of 242,500 for a total value of 351,000. Do I hear a motion?
The chair call for a motion to accept the value agreed on at 351,000, which is 108,500 land improvements for 242,500, total of 351,000.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the consent agreement. Is there any question from the commission? Any objection? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Russ, can you say the numbers one more time for letter M,
Yes.
please?
So total fair market value is $550,000. The land being 228,200. And, oh yeah, that's wrong. Okay. So land is the same at 228,200. Total fair market value is going to be 550 and building is 321,800. So my apologies.
Just 1 second. Let me add that up real quick.
Yeah. 321,800 plus 228,200 is 550.
A motion from the commission.
The chair call for a motion to accept the 550,000 total, which is a land value of $228,200, improvements 321,800, total of 550,000.
Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Okay, next we have item N on the agenda, which is the appeal of the assessor LG Williams versus LIT Investments LLC and the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 242217417.
No taxpayer present, so we'll hear from the City of New Orleans Assessor's Office, Mr. Amarez.
Yes, sir. So the property was originally valued at 294,100. This is a two-family dwelling in the Central City neighborhood. The taxpayer himself actually requested the 285 at the Board of Review, and the Board of Review took the building off in error completely. So we're asking that the commission uphold our original valuation. That would be 11,500 for the land, 288,500 for the, I'm sorry, 282,600 for the building, for a total fair market value of 294,100. That is the lowest of the three numbers. The commission appraisal coming in at 300, our fee simple appraisal coming in at 297. We're okay with our original valuation. This is just an error done by the Board of Review that we're trying to correct.
Okay, we'll hear from the LTC appraiser. Josh?
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Joshua Laverne, LTC appraiser. Both approaches that I did, income and market, both came in at 300,000. So that's my testimony.
Any questions from the commission? Hear none, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the parish assessor's offer at land at 11,500, improvements at 282,600, and for a total of 294,100.
Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Okay, next we have the appeal of Marmac LLC versus Lafourche Parish, versus Assessor Wendy Thibodeau and the Lafourche Parish Board of Review, docket number 2422057002 through 2422047006.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you. My name is Jay Adams with the law firm Jones Walker. I'm here on behalf of Marmac and their appeal in 2024 of the same barges that the commission heard 2023 appeal on recently and rendered decision in favor of the taxpayer. Essentially, it's the same appeal as was heard before. Nothing's changed with respect to these 5 barges. They were reported on the lat 11s to the assessor. The cost of these barges was reported. The assessor has the vessel construction contracts that show what was paid by Marmac for these vessels. But the assessor did not rely on that cost and said she used the base cost in the tables despite what the rules and regulations says. So with me, I have several witnesses to talk about the evidence in the record. And I want to call first Mr. Pat Stant, and he's been sworn in already. So Mr. Stant, we'll move this over here for you. Can you please state your name for the record?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Patrick Stant. I am the president of McDonough Marine Service.
And Mr. Stant, what does McDonough Marine Service do?
We are a barge line. We own and operate approximately 650 barges. We charter and lease these barges as well as some of our tugboats in the open marketplace.
And so at issue in this appeal are 5 barges that they have identifying numbers SH253, SH254, SH260, SH261, SH262. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I would ask you and the commissioners, if you have the exhibits, to turn to Exhibit 5 of the taxpayers' exhibits books that were submitted to the commission. And Mr. Stan, I'd ask you to tell the commissioners what this is a picture of.
That's a picture of barge SH228, which is a shale hopper barge.
And are the barges at issue in this appeal similar to this barge?
Yes, they are.
And those, again, those are the types of barges that were also subject to appeal in the 2023 appeal that the commission's already heard.
That's correct, same barges.
So with respect to the 5 barges at issue, has anything changed with respect to those barges from January 1st, 2023 to January 1st, 2024?
No, there is not.
And so, so were any of them modified or upgraded in any way?
No, there were not.
And so as you noted earlier, these are called shale hopper barges. What is a shale hopper barge?
A shale hopper is designed and built for the movement of non-hazardous oil field waste, which is defined by Coast Guard to be non-pumpable by conventional means, not more than 10% liquid by volume.
So do these barges carry rock, sand, soil, and rubbish for dumping into an ocean, a lake, or a river for land reclamation?
No, they are not. They're not permitted.
Does the bottom of these open?
They do not.
So I'm going to refer you to Exhibit 7 of the exhibit book. And can you tell the commission what Exhibit 7 is?
That's the vessel construction contract.
And who are the parties to that contract?
Marmac LLC contracted with Trinity Marine to build those barges.
Now, are you familiar with this document?
I am.
And is this is Exhibit 7, and please look at it if you need to, is this a true and correct copy of the vessel construction contract between Marmac and Trinity Marine with respect to a couple of the barges at issue here?
Yes, it is.
Would you turn to page 29 of Exhibit 7, if you see the numbers are at the top? Can you review that, and does that on that document tell the commission what Marmac paid for the barges, at least 2 of the barges at issue in this matter?
Yes, it defines the purchase price at $314,655 per barge.
And is that the amount that Marmac paid to Trinity for barges SH253 and SH254?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And at the top, Mr. Stan, it refers to these as rake open top tank barges. And you refer to them earlier as shale hopper barge. Is there a difference?
There's not a difference. U.S. Coast Guard views these barges as open-top tank barges, and so they are regulated for the movement of non-hazardous oil field waste.
But these are not what people might think of as a tank barge.
No, there is not.
So this contract is for 4 barges, but only 2 at issue in this appeal were purchased under this agreement. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's SH 253 and SH 254.
Yes.
And when were these barges purchased?
I think
2001?
I think it's a close in May of 2001.
So let me refer you to Exhibit 8 of the taxpayers' exhibits and ask you to tell the commission what this document is.
This is another vessel construction agreement where Marmac contracted with Trinity for the building of additional barges.
Okay. And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And is this a true and accurate copy of the document of the vessel construction contract between Trinity and Marmac?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to refer you to page 47 of Exhibit 8. And on this page, does it inform the commission what Marmac paid for 3 of the barges at issue in this appeal?
Yes, it does.
And how much did Marmac pay for barges SH 260, SH 261, SH 262?
$797,237 per barge.
And when were these barges purchased by Marmac?
In July of 2014.
So, Mr. Stant, in the assessments issued by the Foos Parish Assessor for barges SH 260 and 261 and SH 262, they're assessed at a fair market value of over $1.5 million. You were aware of that?
I am aware of that.
To your knowledge, did Marmac purchase a barge like SH 260 or 261 or SH 262 of the same type, length, and age for over $1.5 million in 2024?
We did not.
With respect to SH 253 and H 254, which is the barges we talked about earlier, the assessor, based upon the cost tables and the commission's regulations, valued those 2 barges at over $540,000. Do you have a recollection of Marmac purchasing any barges of that same type, length, and age for over $500,000 in 2024?
No, we did not.
I don't have any further questions. Mr. Stan, commission does.
But,
I have other witnesses. Mr. Marcel, that's Chairman. Called Jason Hedrick. Would you please state your name for the record?
Good morning. My name is Jason Hedrick.
Go
I'm
ahead.
go ahead. I'm the finance director for McDonough Marine Service.
And what are your day-to-day job responsibilities with respect to property tax matters?
Sure. I'm responsible for all of the accounting and finance operations, which also includes taxes as well.
Mr. Hedrick, let me refer you to the assessor's exhibits, number A, for example, and it's about 7 pages in. And let me tell you what this, can you tell the commission what this is?
Yes, that's the LAT 11 form. It's for watercraft personal property. And this particular one is for the SH 262.
Okay. So there are 5 exhibits in the assessor's book, and I'm happy to show you all of them, but my question is did Marmac file a LAT 11 for each of the barges that issue in this appeal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what information did you provide in that LAT 11 to the assessor's office for 2024, and specifically for let's say SH 262?
Sure. For all the vessels, we put in there the original cost of the vessels, along with the year of the acquisition, and then also dimensions of the barges, and obviously the parish location.
And so Marmac filed one with the same information for each barge with the assessor for 2024?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you look on the next page, who signed this document, this LAT 11?
Nick DiMaggio.
And who is that?
Nick DiMaggio is our staff accountant, and he is responsible for completing all the LAT 11 forms for McDonough Marine.
Can you speak more directly to the mic?
I'm sorry. My apologies. It is green.
So with respect to, SH 262, what was the value or cost reported on the lat 11?
The cost, original acquisition cost was $797,237.
And where did that number come from?
The original construction contracts.
And that's the same for each of the barges that you reported?
Yes, sir.
After you submitted these lat forms to the assessor, did you have any discussions or requests from her office for any additional information?
No, sir.
I have no further questions. Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call Andrew Hall. Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Andrew Hall.
And how are you employed, Mr. Hall?
I'm employed by Kroll LLC.
And what, if any, involvement do you have in this matter on Marmax's behalf?
Kroll LLC is contracted and employed by McDonough Marine to review property tax assessments and to give opinions on if they are in line or if further discussion and appeals are necessary.
Mr. Hall, let me refer you to Exhibit 1 of the Taxpayers Exhibit Book, the pages 001 through 005. And can you tell the commission what these documents are?
Those are Form 3103As, appeal to the Louisiana Tax Commission for the 5 vessels question.
And who completed these forms?
I did.
And the first one, 001, is for SH 253. And in this, you're requesting a proposed fair market value of 126,910.
Correct.
Where did you get that number?
I took the original historical cost from the construction purchase agreements and multiplied that times the composite multiplier in the 703-1 or 703 B1 form depreciation tables per the Chapter 7 guidelines.
And you do that for all 5 of the vessels?
That's correct.
And I'll refer you to Exhibit 2 of the taxpayers exhibits on page 6. And can you explain to the commission what this document is?
That details exactly how the calculations were made for each vessel. So for each vessel, the vessel number, the corresponding Lafourche Parish parcel number, the type of barge, the year of construction. So we have 2 of them at 2001 and 3 of them at 2014. The purchase construction price per the agreements, the contracts with Trinity Marine, the days rented, and then the composite factor on the 703B form. And so for 2001, we used the oldest factor as it goes to 2003. So we use the oldest factor, which is 40%. We did not ask for obsolescence and multiplied that out to get our estimates of value of 126,910. And then for the other 3 barges, the construction price of 797,237 with the 2014 composite multiplier of 85% and estimated market value of 677,651.
And you indicated you did not ask for any obsolescence for any of these barges?
We did not ask for obsolescence.
And what, if you know, is the difference between the values that you have proposed and are asking for, or Marmax's asking for, and what the assessor assessed?
So we are using the instructions per Chapter 7 of the historical cost, the purchase cost, times the 703B table. And we understand that the assessor is using the base cost tables instead of, and not referencing in any way the historical cost or the original cost.
So, Mr. Hall, how many barges did Marmax report on lat 11s to Lafourche Parish?
I believe 29.
And how many have they appealed?
5.
Just these 5?
Correct.
So, With respect to, were you involved in the 2023 appeal of these 5 barges?
Yes, I was.
And you prepared the value for those as well?
Correct.
What, if anything, did you do differently in calculating the 2024 values as requested and the 2023 values that the commission upheld?
The methodology is the exact same. There is the difference of the applicable year, the depreciation obtained from the 703B, so additional years of depreciation.
No further questions. Tanner, you, Jen.
We'll hear from the assessor Thibodeau.
Yes, Assessor to Wendy Thibodeau, Lafourche Parish. We considered all of the information that was submitted and available to us, and we believe that the Louisiana Tax Commission 2024 rules and regulations was the most uniform and appropriate value, and that's how we came up with all of these values according to the watercraft tables in the rules and regulations.
From the commission. I question for me. In your construction contract. Do you prefer?
Preferred builder for that type of barge? It would be,
Okay, so I would lend myself to believe that's not market price you're paying if that's your preferred builder that you build with all the time. I'm in the shipyard business. A customer who builds with us all the time usually gets a discount, usually gets a better price. So my point is, I'm just asking the question. Do you believe that cost is true market value or the discounted price that Madonna Marine negotiated?
we have not built barge. Mr. Commissioner, it is a true market value. We have not built at Trinity Shipyard in more than 10 years.
If I walk to Trinity today, buy one barge, am I get that same price?
I can't vouch for Trinity, but I can tell you that there are only 2 hopper barge builders left in the U.S.
Thank you. The question to either side. So the values we use are not the new values that we set for 2025, even though at the request of the taxpayer, we created a new category to do it. Were those values offered to the taxpayer?
They were, and they were rejected.
And the taxpayer rejected it.
I'm not aware of that, Mr. Chairman. No, I'm not aware of that. I don't know if Marmac is.
Is there anybody here today that could confirm that for us?
I offered it, was through email, and I have Tori that sent the email, and I have a copy of the original email with the new values according to the tables that were adopted by the Louisiana Tax Commission for the 2026 rules and regulations. And we said, if we do not hear back by you by 12 p.m. on September 8th, 2025, we assume you do not agree with this offer and we will proceed with the appeal. We never heard from them.
That was not sent to me, and I'm counsel record, Mr. Chairman, but
It is emailed to Andrew Hall. He can attest to it.
did receive it.
Oh, and Nick DiMaggio got it as well.
Yes, I did receive it, and I did
And
communicate.
you gave it to your client and they rejected it?
The decision was made not to accept it.
Who made that decision?
The client.
You did?
I did not. I could.
Does anybody know?
I did. Yes, sir.
Understand, so the assessor offered the new values that we adopted. Y'all rejected it, so now we're back to the original values that y'all off.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd say that we're looking at I'm sorry. Sure.
Again, sir, the values that she presented were not in line with what the original acquisition values were. And it was under our assumption that based off of prior years, that, we provided what the original basis was, and that should have took precedence.
There's no law that says takes precedence. So what it says is the assessor shall consider historical cost in her determination. Y'all won the appeal last time because the assessor had the mic, said she didn't consider it. And that's why y'all won it, because didn't consider it. She's not required, no assessor is required to use it. She has to consider it in her determination of value, but it's not absolute and it's not law. I'm just curious why y'all asked us to create a new category, which we did, which we felt was appropriate because taxing them at dump scows didn't make sense for shale barges. We did that. That was offered to y'all and y'all rejected it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, to be honest with you, the table that came up with was not proposed by this taxpayer. It was proposed on rebuttal by the assessor. This Marmac had no opportunity to provide a response to the commission during the rules and regs session at all.
You had the opportunity to show up at the meeting during the rebuttal and.
Well, no, it was presented during the rebuttal, Mr. Chairman, if you go back and look, but I don't want to argue with you about that.
Their numbers, what they pointed that they would be at their proposal. I just rebutted.
Well, I don't think this is the place to argue about that, quite frankly, but I will note for the record that the rules for 2024 say that in there's chapter 7, which, you know, Assessor Thibodeau is the head of the chairman of the Watercraft Committee. It says that when using a cost approach, the assessor shall estimate the fair market value of each vessel having cited to the assessor parish through the use of the information provided to the assessor on lat form 11. Taxpayers shall report the cost of the vessel. That's what happened here. Shall use the cost approach. The cost composite multipliers are only to be used when the cost of the vessel is self-reported. It was self-reported. When the cost of the vessel is not available, it was available, or the assessor finds the information unreliable, there's been no evidence presented that it was unreliable. The assessor may then utilize the base cost tables. That's what you used here. There's no evidence that what was provided was unreliable or unreasonable. So we think the rules and regulations as written for 2024 uphold what Marmac's asking for.
So I can assume you'll be here because y'all don't agree with the new values that we adopted.
Well,
this
that's for
time.
2026.
I just asked the question,
Oh,
just
I-
so I can answer. So you're gonna appeal next year? It's not. I apologize. We adopted rules that we thought were fair. You're not sworn, or you swearing, you shouldn't even be addressing your own. We adopted rules that we thought were fair. You don't like the values, but they're not the rules we want you to do. So it's insulting to me that you just adopted rules that y'all request the categories be paid, but you're still not happy because you didn't get what you.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize to you.
Your apology. Sit down, please. Frustrating to the commission to listen to taxpayers, do what you asked us to do, but we didn't agree with your low numbers. So now that what we did is useless and y'all gonna appeal it again. So with that, I'm gonna open it up to the floor. Any questions from the commission? Okay, I make a motion, we take this under advisement. Any objection to that motion? I'm sorry, any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, motion is adopted.
Okay. Next, we'll take up item H on the agenda, which is the appeal of NOLA 10 LLC versus Assessor LG Williams and the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 24221-73033.
You can hear me now? Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Julie Quinn on behalf of NOLA 10 LLC. We have appealed the Orleans Parish Assessor's assessment of the property tax. NOLA 10 LLC owns a hotel in New Orleans on Chef Mentor Highway. at 6305 Chef Mentor. I don't know how familiar each of the individual commissioners are with Chef Mentor, but it is a struggling corridor to say the least. This hotel is 118 rooms and currently has 7 or 8 occupied, and they are not even occupied with nightly hotel stays. They are being occupied by month-to-month or week-to-week renters. The property is going to be put for sale again. We don't have great hopes of what that will turn out to be, but it's just being unloaded. Let me tell you where we are as far as the values. We actually agree with the tax commission's appraisal. Generally speaking, I'm gonna have to take my hand off this button for a second while I pull out my papers. Okay. Going back just a couple of years in history, 2021, the assessor's office appraised it at 1,026,000. 2022 was 1,063,000. 2023 was 2,079,000. Those were fine with us. And 2023 was well after COVID. Oddly, in 2024, there was a procedural snafu. The assessor's office listed the property taxes as 0, and that's the notice that the taxpayer got. Thereafter, they increased the property taxes to $5,229,000. So it went from 0 to $5,229,000, but in reality, it went from $2,079,000 to $5,229,000. With no justification. And in fact, I note to this commission that the rationale they used was that they saw my client, NOLA 10, had listed the property for sale. If you recall, this was in the height of the real estate boom in about 2023 when people were bidding on properties. It was a bidding war, all cash offers. I did it myself, lost all cash, no appraisal, and I would still lose properties. So they were trying to take advantage of that real estate boom. They got not a single offer at their 4.9 million. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because the Orleans assessor admitted, which is, I don't know if the word is unlawful, but it is, you're not to use listings for basis of your assessments. They admitted in documents and to me that they picked up the for sale amount, and that's what they based the increased appraisal on. Now, they had, as I said, not one single offer at 4.9, and the reason is because nobody could get financing, because once a bank looks at your financials, they know you're not going to be able to make that note. So the property wasn't worth that. So, but they didn't send the 10-day notice as required to change. They sent it certified and it was returned to sender. They also, and I note this just for the record in case the Orleans Assessor's Office appeals to the district court on this, we did not get the notice of the 10-day notice that they were changing. So we didn't appeal it in 24 until we got 25. And my client went online and looked at 25 and saw that saw the 5.2 million assessment, sent in his, before he engaged me, sent his financials to the Orleans Assessor's Office. So they changed it from 5.9 million back down to 4.4 million, which was still well in excess of its fair market value. So we filed an appeal with the Board of Review. Once again, did not get notice of that Board of Review hearing. They sent it to my other client in Florida. So I did not appear at the hearing. And they simply upheld the 4.4 million. So here we sit today. We have a broker value opinion between 2 million and 2.5 million that we submitted to Orleans Parish on our review before Orleans Parish, which is also before this commission on our appeal here. Then, as I said, the tax commission did its, I guess, independent appraiser who came smack in the middle of where we said the whole time we knew what it was worth, between 2 and 2.5. And the appraiser for the LTC came back, and I want to say it's at 2.2. I don't have the exact, unless I take my finger off the button again, but it's, thank you. So we agreed simply to accept the tax commission, even though we had asked for 2 million. We said, we'll just take the tax commission's appraisal. We're fine with that. Originally, the Orleans assessor said they would consider it. They called me yesterday, made an offer of settlement, and then before I could even call them back, they called back and said, no, we're not even going to offer to settle for that. So here we are. Do you have any questions for me?
No, just
Thank you.
hang loose, Joe. I'm sure we'll have some for somewhere. We'll hear from Mr. Alvarez.
Yes,
City of
Mayor.
New Orleans Assessor's Office.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack, and I'd like to address specifically all the opinions given by the taxpayers rep that misconstrues our office, that's insinuating misdeeds by our office. None of the testimony was actually accurate. The property is a 117-room limited service hotel of average quality in Orleans Parish. The only thing that was accurate that the taxpayers rep said was that there was a snafu in the system. It reduced the value to 0. We sent them a 10-day letter as required by law when we found out there was an error in the valuation as 47-1966. We settled with them as per from the 10-day letter. They agreed to it. It was set at $4.4 million. That was where the value came from. This is not a listing. This is not a sales chasing. We had an issue where the property was set to 0. We sent them a 10-day letter. And we came up with an agreement. They agreed to that value. And that's where the $4.4 million came from, to insinuate that we are sales chasing this or trying to take advantage of the taxpayers, a little insulting to our office. And we do not appreciate that. In this situation here, that comes out to $37,619 per key. The value was appealed to the Board of Review. We are not in charge of the Board of Review. We do not give out notice for the Board of Review. That would be the City of New Orleans. We are the Orleans Parish Assessor's Office. If the Board of Review did not give them notice, that is a matter to take with the Board of Review, not to drag our name through the mud at the Louisiana Tax Commission. A 10-day letter has to be sent to the mailing address on file. It was sent to the mailing address on file. That's where we send it out, and that's where we have to send it out. So taking a look at the actual values, right? The taxpayer agent did provide a broker price opinion for this property containing at least one sale on the I-10 service road, but that's an auction sale. It's a distress sale and should not have been used. And therefore, we did not agree with the broker price opinion. Income information provided shows losses. Therefore, a pro forma income valuation was performed using data from CoStar, which is a nationally recognized company for income, along with TREP and a number of other companies, to determine the average daily rate, vacancy, and expenses. The cap rate was derived from RERC and loaded to come up with the value. A sales comparison approach was performed, fully supporting the previously agreed upon value of $4.4 million. However, once reconciled with the income approach, we came up with a reconciled value of $3,003,400. And of the New Orleans East hotels that have come before Louisiana Tax Commission, the per key range decided by the Louisiana Tax Commission have been in the range between $24,392 per key and $30,000 per key. To value this property at the appraised value of $18,923 per key would create a disparity among other hotels in the area. Subsequently, the hotel directly across the street at 6322 Chef Mentor was appealed at on September 10th, 2025, Louisiana docket, and valued at $30,000 per key using the same pro forma figures. We're asking to use the reconciled value of $3,003,400 or $25,700 per key, which would be in line with the Tax Commission's previous rulings of hotels in the New Orleans East and the current valuations of hotels in New Orleans East, but it would be on the lower end. We're okay with that reconciled value.
The value laying on what?
Total value would be land, $231,500, improvement, $2,771,900, for a total fair market value of $3,003,400. It's a weird number to say.
Hear from the LTC appraiser, Danny.
Yes, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Danny Blanchard, I performed a fee simple appraisal of the property known as Hotel 10, which has the municipal address of 6303 Chef Ventura Highway. Of note, this property, it doesn't have a nationally recognized flag. That's key because that's the source of most of your income. In the immediate case, it has no flag, so it can only rely on, to put it mildly, local folks staying there for one reason or another. So I did an independent analysis and came up with using host data and in other forms of research, came up with a room rate of $52 a night. So that's not much, an occupancy rate of nearly 40%. So anyway, blended analysis using host data and independent analysis, independent data generated by myself. We arrived at using an income approach of $2,214,000. The source of the cap rate was RERC, which ranged from 9.5 to 11.5. We settled on 11%, given the weak economy, the fact that the property has extensive physical depreciation, and the absence of a nationally recognized flag. So again, came up with a cap rate of 12.84. That led us to a value via the income approach of $2,214,000. We're also fortunate enough to have 3 comparable sales in the area. The sales comparison approach settled on a rate of $21,500 per key, which led us to a value of $2,516,000, a final reconciliated value of $2,214,000. And I'd like to speak to the property that the assessor referenced across the street. That property has a I also appraised that property. That property has a nationally recognized flag. It's a Super 8 hotel, to be exact. And it has performed an interior and exterior inspection during that appraisal. And the difference in physical depreciation is it's an appreciably better property in terms of physical depreciation and management. So anyway, that's it would not be an apples to apples comparison to say we arrived at a value of X per key on that property, and therefore it should carry over to the property across the street, which is by all accounts an inferior property. So again, the current appraisal for 6303 Chef Ventura Highway, a final value conclusion of $2,214,000 using both the income and the sales comparison approach.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes,
Questions from the commission?
Yes, I'm sorry, Commissioner. Just to kind of rebut the National Flag brand, most of these hotels were appealed to the Board of Review, and Jack's Motel does not have a national brand. That's at 7700 Chef Ventura, a few blocks away. It's at 30,000 per key. Top Motel is not a national brand. That's at 30,000 per key. Motel 6, yes, that might be a national brand, but they're nationally known for having the lowest rates. You know, we'll leave the light on for you. We got the lowest brand like Super 8, Motel 6. So even though, yeah, that is a national brand, that's still at 30,000 per key. We're offering 25,000 per key, even less than that. So that's just all I wanted to say. Even non-national brands are at 30,000 per key, 7 blocks away.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, Commissioners? Commissioners, may I add one thing?
Go ahead, Danny.
I appraised Jack's Hotel twice in recent years. I cannot divulge for confidentiality reasons, but I appraised that property twice, and it's again, the physical condition, like the property across the street, the Super 8, the physical condition is night and day. Performed an in-depth analysis. The owner actually lives on the property, so to say they have a vested interest in maintaining that property would be an understatement. It's a well-run property, and it's appreciably nicer than property that we're appraising. But anyway, that's in that case, you'd have a difference in management and a difference in overall physical condition. So again, apples to apples comparison is what we're shooting for here.
Okay, thank you, Danny. Questions from the commission? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I call for a motion, the value of this property at $2,500,000, which is land, $231,500, improvement, $2,268,500, a total value of $2,500,000.
We have a motion. Any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business to come before the commission today? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I call for a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 10:25 a.m. Thank